Do you have any advice on how to handle, or what would you do differently now that you know what you know in an interview?
That's a great question. Honestly, I have no idea. It was a long time ago. Obviously, it was like, over
Yeah.
10 years ago. And I do remember like sitting there in the interview, but I think that, part of it, and I've been in this position a bunch of times. I think we all have in a meeting or when we're trying to figure out a deal with somebody that we're working with or we're trying something on our own. And we're just like, you get this feeling of like, I don't know what to say. Right. I don't, Let me wait for someone else to make a move because like this is new for me. I don't know
Mm.
question, but it's like a dumb question. Like I just don't want to say anything. So we don't say anything. And I think that perhaps some of what was good about going into an interview, having no clue what anything was that I was genuinely curious. What is going on here? And, admitting that I don't know things and
Yeah.
then just asking even like the basic questions because it's not really about the basic question. The basic question is just a means to get information. Information is available anyway. If the recruiter had known what they had done, I could have Googled it and I'd have gone in there and I've been like, equipment trades, cool, whatever. But
Right.
then they gave me that information and then I could ask more questions and then more questions and then start to formulate and like tie things together and like bring it around. So the idea that there are no dumb questions, I
Well
mean, is
said.
really accurate and true. And I think that being in that situation or any situation is don't ever be afraid to ask what you think is a dumb question or, be afraid to speak up, even if you're like, I have no idea what's going on. I remember sitting in a conference room one time. We were trying to do a deal between these two organizations. It was my organization. I had brought this external thing in. My idea was that it was in the wound care space. My idea was that, you know, WOC nurses are just in hospitals and it's really hard to scale education because if there's one in a hospital and, 80 patients need the WOC nurse, like the bedside nurses have to deal with a lot of wounds and it creates a lot of problems and whatever. But it's really hard to scale knowledge, and, like, disseminate it in, like, a useful way. Well, this company had sort of like a telehealth platform, and I was like, "Yeah, it's really cool that they can, like, one-to-one, but what this is really your availability to scale knowledge and application, because if you could then have this company and it really is now like a more mod it's like you have the expert centralized and you have the person delivering care, and so the nurse at the bedside is like, "Hey, I got this patient, da 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 da. What do I do?" And then they can like say, "This is what you do, and this is how you whatever." So you're scaling
Yeah.
this knowledge. And I just remember sitting. That was my idea. There was more to it, but I was sitting in this room, and you could tell that this side of the table wanted to work together, and like this side of the table wanted to work together, but they didn't quite know how to like make it happen, right? But you also got the feeling that everyone was afraid to sort of admit it. That they didn't
Yeah.
really know how
Yeah.
to. But imagine if someone sat there and was like, "Man, I love this. This is cool, but like, I don't know how we work together. How
Yeah.
does this make sense? How do you benefit and make money? How do we benefit and make money? And how do we help the patient? Like, what does this look like?" Which seems kind of like a dumb question, right? Because I'm a smart executive guy. I should know, and I should have the idea. But what if you just said, "We're all sitting here. We all want to work together, but we're not sure how to make that happen. Do you have any ideas?"
Yes. Yes.
Like it moves the needle. It's like, just don't be afraid and just talk, just ask, just put
Mhm.
together, throw a stupid idea out. Like, this might be ridiculous. What about this? And people are like, that's not ridiculous, right? They start to consider it. So I think that's a
Yeah.
huge learning that I've had over the years is watching other people who are super successful. They just, with the information, with their knowledge, with their skill, they make the decisions and they go with it. And then if they meet someone who gives them a better idea, thought, barrier, whatever, they change and adapt. And they start, they just keep going and make fast decisions, with imperfect
Yeah.
information.
Oh, that's a wonderful piece of advice. You're right. Some of the smartest people I've ever met, if not all of them, are those that are willing to be vulnerable and ask questions. They're willing to show that they don't know, but that's why they know so much, because when they find themselves in a situation where they're not sure, they ask. And you don't even have to be specific about the question, to your point. You don't even have to know what to ask. It's like, I'm just not exactly sure how this works here. And I personally, I'm trying to get better at that, where it's like, I'm not even sure what the question is, but here's the thought that I have. Can you please open up and just like tell me what you're thinking about this topic? And then you just, instead of holding them down to a specific response that you're looking for. It's like open it up to so that you can fully understand more. And I see why now in your interview, like that probably was the benefit because when you do ask questions, it shows what's going on in your mind and what's important to you. And you showed them, hey, I'm looking to discover, I'm willing to learn.
Yeah.